Hi, my name is Justin. 29 years old. I work in information technology for the federal government. Last year, when I was 28, when I was growing up, I did smoke. On my 20th birthday, I decided to put them down. I realized what a bad habit it was, so decided I was going to quit. Fortunately, about a month or two after that, I started getting aches and pains. Got my neck started getting stiff. I thought I was sleeping wrong. It got to the point I couldn't turn my neck hardly to the left or to the right. Went and saw doctors, chiropractors. Nobody could really find out what was going on. And then about July of last year, my shoulder started hurting. I couldn't lift my shoulder above my head. As far as, my lungs and breathing, everything was fine, but I was just having a lot of physical pain. So I went and saw a doctor again, and they wanted to send me to physical therapy. I requested an MRI just to see if I had a bulging disc or something in my neck. But when they did that, they saw a soft tissue mass in my neck. So at that time, we were thinking something benign and, get rid of it. And so from that point, they ordered a MRI with contrast. So I came to Duke here, and they did my contrast MRI. After they ran that MRI, I guess they saw things they didn't like, so they ordered I ended up getting a brain MRI, chest and abdomen CT, nuclear bone scan, and the final result on September of last year. Actually, the day I was diagnosed was September 5th, and the day they did the Stand Up to Cancer fundraiser, and so that really stuck in my mind. But at that point, they diagnosed me with stage 4 lung cancer. I had primary mass in my left lung, nodules in both lungs. Had two soft tissue masses in my neck, multiple spots throughout my spine, both of my hips, and my liver. From that point, first thing we did was radiation. I was having a lot of pain in my neck, where I couldn't turn my head and everything. So we did radiation to get rid of the pain there. I went through 10 radiation treatments for that. As soon as we got done with that, we went straight into the chemotherapy. We were doing the biopsies to try to find out what type of lung cancer it was. So they started off and did the first biopsy. They did a hip biopsy. So that's where they determined it was lung. Well, after that, we wanted to find a subcategory of it. So I went through a bronchoscopy where they go down my throat trying to find out to get a piece. Unfortunately, we got a piece for categorization of it, but we didn't get a part for a clinical trial that I wanted to participate in to do one of the chemo treatments. So basically, that fell to. They said, well, we really would like to do the clinical trial. We agreed. It sounded good, so we decided to go through another biopsy. Which at that point they decided to do a CT biopsy straight through my lung. They went through that. They got another piece. Unfortunately, I guess anytime you poke a hole in the lung, you have to worry about it leaking out. So air leaked out and it started to collapse my lungs. So I ended up getting hospitalized that night. The worst thing about it was my little boy's second birthday the next day. So, but we got through it. Like I said, we wanted to get through, and we wanted to participate in a trial if we could, but unfortunately that was not a good piece either. So at that point we decided to new chemo treatment was just approved for first use. We went through that, went through 6 weeks of treatment, and I got 50% reduction off the first scans in the primary mass of my lung. Liver really didn't change. At that point, we didn't know if it was involved really or not, but so we said, okay, everything's looking good. We'll go through 6 more weeks of treatment. So we went through 6 more weeks of that treatment, and at that point, we saw that the lung really didn't change a whole lot, but the liver mass grew. So at that point, we knew that treatment wasn't working, so it was time to go to something else. From one of my biopsies, they saw I had a high marking, a EGFR, so we were hoping that Tarceva would be an option. So we tried that for a couple months. Unfortunately for me, it didn't do anything. So basically, it went 2 months growing. You don't know until you try. We knew several people that had great responses on that. We hoped for the same, but unfortunately, we didn't. So we kind of gotten back to that point, back to square one again. And that time, I started having a lot of pain in my spine, just where the tumors in my spine were starting to grow. So I ended up going under 15 rounds of radiation for the spots in my spine, and then after that we went on the chemo treatment that I was last on, which was carboplatin and Taxol with Avastin. I went through 6 weeks of treatment with that, and after 6 weeks we saw about a 90% reduction in the lung mass alone. The liver mass we saw about 50%, or 50 or 75, I can't remember. So needless to say, we were very excited. So everything's going good, and we'll go 6 more weeks. For me, it was rather nerve-wracking because I'd already been through one treatment that gave me good responses, and then had to quit. But we went through another 6 weeks, and from the 90% the lung mass had reduced before, it had reduced another 50% onto that, and the liver had reduced. The liver was, I can't remember, it was either pretty small or gone at that time. So again, we continued on. I went through the last 6 weeks of treatment. Went in for scans on August 11th of this past year, and basically, Doc said he doesn't see anything being active. Still got a partial mass in my left lung that we believe is dying off. So at that point, he considered me in remission. Like I said, the bones were healing. Like I said, the mass that was in the lung didn't look active. It was still shrinking. Liver mass was gone completely, which was that was a big thing for us because we had gone several other treatments that never affect the liver. So October 11th or August 11th, considered me remission. So we went, quit the chemo, went just on Avastin as a maintenance drug, and we did that for 3 months. And I actually just went in this past Tuesday. Everything is still stable. The mass in the lung is another 25% reduced. But everything's still on track and moving like we wanted to move.